Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Get Up DC. I'm Annie Yu.
And I'm Allison Seymour. Annie, it's Friday. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's get to our top stories on this Friday morning. We have to start with this, unfortunately, though. Police asking for tips about a shooting in Southwest DC. 5 people, 3 men and 2 women, were wounded in this attack. It happened around dinner time along Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. Police released pictures of the person that they are searching for. They say that these images were captured by a surveillance camera near the shooting. Here we go. So if you think you know who this is, you're asked to call DC Police. Another shooting is under investigation in Northeast DC. Police tell us 2 men were shot on 10th Street near Catholic University. Both are expected to recover. Police are still looking for the shooter in this case. They tweeted that he was wearing a black jacket with brown fur around the hood. Annie?
Some parents and students can't wait for a full return to in-person learning, but others feel the opposite. Our partners at the Washington Post report Alexandria City Public Schools are getting ready to strategize for the next school year, and that they expect some families will want to stay with all virtual learning. They'll also be working on summer or special summer programs to help students who feel behind or fell behind learning at home starting to catch up. Meanwhile, students in Maryland won't have to worry about standardized testing as they return to classrooms this spring. The State Board of Education just voted to push those tests, known as the MCAPS, back to the fall. Now, typically, the English and math exams run more than 7 hours. They will now be scaled back to less than 4 hours.
Washington Caps star Alex Ovechkin fined $5,000 for spearing a Boston Bruins player on Wednesday. Now, the amount is the maximum allowed in the league's collective bargaining agreement, but the fine won't break the bank for OV. The grade 8 is in the final year of a 13-year, $124 million contract that pays him more than $100,000 per game.
Yeah, I think he can afford that.
Yeah.
The Washington Wizards, meanwhile, are hitting the All-Star break on a roll. The Wizards beat the LA Clippers last night, 119-117. The Wizards have won 8 of their last 11 games, which includes wins against some of the best teams in the league. The NBA All-Star Game is this Sunday, where Bradley Beal will make his first career start.
Well, they are the people that help make sure our children cross the street safely. I'm talking about crossing guards. And this morning, we're celebrating the life of one crossing guard who spent almost 50 years serving the people of Prince George's County. Her story is right before 5:30 in my Get Uplifted segment.
4:28, it's Friday hour.
It's frigid Friday out there. Wow, wind chills have dropped big time. We're down in the teens this morning on the unseasonably cold air. It's going to be with us through Sunday, but hang in. Got a nice turnaround coming. Spring-like weather will return next week. Marcella.
All right, this morning we've got an accident. This is on the southeast-southwest freeway, right at the 3rd Street tunnel. 2 lanes blocked right now, as well as the entrance to the tunnel. So you want to stay left as you make your way past that accident.
1 year ago today, we had our first reported case of COVID-19 in the DMV. And from that fallout, many people are still struggling. So, where are we on the latest round of stimulus checks? We'll have the latest from Capitol Hill.
But now we at least have a weapon to fight the virus. We'll have the latest on area efforts to get shots into arms and new mass vaccination locations that you can go to get the vaccine.
One location that doesn't have a mass vaccination site is Montgomery County in Maryland. County leaders say they can handle the demand for the vaccine if they can get more doses from the state.
Near the top almost every week of how quickly we get shots into arms. If you want to vaccinate a lot of people, do it in a county who's proven they can do that.
It's been almost exactly 2 months since the riot at the Capitol. Now, Capitol Police are saying they need the National Guard troops to stay for another 60 days.
Anybody in the community can say, boy, I hope nothing happens at the Capitol. Hope is not a sound counterterrorism strategy.
Good morning. morning and welcome to Get Up DC. I'm Allison Seymour.
And I'm Annie Yu. Good morning to you on this Friday. Coming up on Get Up DC, it's been nearly 2 months since the insurrection at the Capitol, and Capitol Police are asking National Guard troops to remain in DC for another 2 months.
Also, today we have reached a grim anniversary. It has been exactly 1 year since Maryland Governor Larry Hogan announced the first confirmed coronavirus case in our region, a moment that would eventually lead to all of us drastically changing how we live our lives. So we want to know, do you remember what you did on your last, let's put it in quotes, normal week? Text us your memories, 202-895-5599, or reach out on social media. Use that hashtag GetUpDC. Right now, though, let's get to Howard Bernstein with a look at today's Friday forecast. Hey, Howard.
Hey, good morning. It's a cold one out there, and I know we should be talking 50s in spring, but, we will get there not until next week. This morning, though, the winds are up. They're going to gust 10 to 30 miles an hour at times today, with highs only getting into the low to mid 40s, 35 by 11 a.m. It's not even going to feel close to that. We've got gusts right now in the 20, 25 mile an hour range, although almost 30 at Cambridge there at 29. Lighter winds front Royal Culpeper for the moment, but we will be seeing those winds pick up. And with that, the wind chills are going to be a factor today. Right now, 30 in town, down to 24 in Hagerstown, 12 in Oakland. And if you're thinking about skiing, I was checking, they're making snow this morning out in Garrett County and Wisp. So I'm sure the other ski areas are going to be in great shape this weekend, like Seven Springs and Blue Knob and over toward the Canadian Valley. Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend with the cold in place. Just don't forget the shades and the sunscreen. Hey, look at this. The wind chills, the futurecast wind chills this morning. Some upper single digits north, mostly in the teens as we head toward early afternoon. 20s into the low 30s. So, thick wind chills later today will only be in the 30s. The futurecast, that actually stays pretty quiet. There's no real systems coming our way. In fact, we're in the middle of a dry stretch, or dry stretch since, early to mid-January, with temperatures by lunchtime mid to upper 30s. But, 44 and 4 o'clock, we might get 45, 46. That's about it. Average highs 52. And then tonight will be another cold, breezy night with lows mostly in the 20s to a couple of low 30s by Saturday morning. All right, Marcella, the cold is the problem this morning. What's going on the roads?
Yes, not a lot. We do have one incident. We'll talk about that in just a second. But here's a wide look at the area. Not a lot of incidents, lots of green. You're not going to have any issues if you're heading out this morning. We do have this accident southeast southwest freeway right at the 3rd Street tunnel. 2 lanes blocked there, as well as the entrance to the tunnel. So you want to stay left as you're making your way past that accident. Here's a live look at 270 southbound as you're coming down from Rockville. Your drive times on 270 looking good this morning. If you're coming down from Frederic, under 30 minutes for you. We'll take a look at your Virginia drive times in just a few minutes. Annie?
Marcella, thank you. 4:33 overnight, a $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill inched closer to passage with an unusual scene on the Senate floor. That as more vaccinations have led to fewer restrictions on businesses in parts of the country. Debra Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill.
Section 2, Table of Contents.
While most of the country slept, Senate clerks were at work reciting every word of the 628-page COVID relief bill backed by President Biden.
For 823 and other related activities.
The entire process took nearly 11 hours. Wisconsin Republican Ron Johnson requested the reading.
All I'm trying to do is make this a more deliberative process. Obviously shine the light on this abusive an obscene amount of money.
We Democrats want America to hear what's in the plan.
The bill advanced to the debate stage Thursday without the support of a single GOP senator. Vice President Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote.
And the motion to proceed is agreed to.
Forcing the bill to be read aloud could delay the final vote until this weekend. Meanwhile, many businesses are waking up to fewer and fewer pandemic-related restrictions, and that's thanks in part to ramped-up vaccine distribution.
The CDC says over 54 million Americans have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine.
COVID has not suddenly disappeared. Even though we issue this executive order, doesn't mean COVID is gone. What it means is that we no longer need government running your lives.
More states are following Texas's lead in easing pandemic restrictions as case totals drop. 16 will have no mask requirement by next week. Public health experts have urged caution, though, saying more contagious new variants could result in another surge. Debra Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she expects the Senate's version will pass quickly when it's sent back to the House, adding that she wants it to become law before key unemployment benefits expire March 14th.
Now let's get to the latest on the coronavirus vaccine. There are 3 big updates in our area when it comes to getting more people vaccinated. So let's start in the district. The city is working to open high-capacity sites for people to get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They won't be walk-up sites. You will need an appointment. To Northern Virginia now, a mass vaccination site is opening in Arlington tomorrow at Lubber Run Community Center. 1,500 Johnson & Johnson shots will be given. You do need an appointment there as well. And in Maryland, a 4th mass vaccination site is now open. This one is located at the Regency Furniture Baseball Stadium in Waldorf. Again, you need an appointment. Now let's focus on Montgomery County because leaders say they are dealing with several problems in the county. There isn't enough vaccine for one, and there's a big divide when it comes to who is getting the shots the county has. John Henry has more on the proposed solutions moving forward.
The governor made a big announcement in Annapolis.
We are announcing the very first vaccine equity operations plan of any state in America to further address health disparities and the issue of equity.
He says Maryland's Vaccine Equity Task Force will work with local health departments to better serve vulnerable populations. They designed a 20-page plan to identify communities across the state that need vaccinations. This comes as Montgomery leaders have criticized the state for inequitably distributing vaccines. There, whites have been disproportionately vaccinated over minorities. The Montgomery Council even wrote the governor. It requested the state have pharmacies make racial equity a priority. It also says Maryland should help Montgomery set up a mass vaccination site. Councilmember Will Jawando says the county can distribute vaccines equitably.
Near the top almost every week of how quickly we get shots into arms. If you want to vaccinate a lot of people, do it in a county who's proven they can do that.
County Executive Mark Elrich said if his county, the largest in the state, got more vaccines, it could open a site itself. The county's health officer, Dr. Travis Gales, a state employee himself, admitted he could put his job at risk for saying this.
We should not be afraid to speak out about the policies that are coming from Annapolis for fear that we may have, there may be ramifications. We may not get a mass vac site because we're critical of the governor. So I'm going to argue that that may be what's happening now.
In response, the governor's office said some counties opened their mass vaccination clinics months ago, so it's reasonable for Montgomery to do so now. John Henry, WUSA 9.
And we know there's a lot to navigate when it comes to vaccines. That's why we posted a vaccine guide on WUSA9.com. It has information about how to register, who's eligible, no matter where you live. And today marks the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in our area. And after a year, 365 days of this pandemic, we all want to know what's next and how much longer we'll have to wear masks. Many are asking when we will reach herd immunity and when you could get your children vaccinated. So we are diving into all of that tonight at 7 with special coverage. The pandemic continues 1 year later. Tune in.
Capitol Hill remains on high alert, though things remained calm at the Capitol yesterday. But after everything that happened on January 6th, police are not taking any chances. Mike Valerio has more on the security threats and why the National Guard is sticking around.
It's a state of elevated security, with intelligence putting law enforcement on high alert at least through Saturday. Capitol Police are now officially acknowledging they need the National Guard for 60 more days, saying a threat to Congress will continue.
Anybody in the community can say, boy, I hope nothing happens at the Capitol. Hope is not a sound counterterrorism strategy.
Retired FBI Special Agent Tom O'Connor says agents with the Bureau are working around the clock to find out which threats are acute and which are incidental.
Law enforcement's going to have to continue to run this to ground, as they have in the past.
Moving forward, WUSA 9 first reported retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore has 3 briefings beginning Monday afternoon with members of Congress to discuss how to secure the Capitol. Intelligence analysts are also wary of May 20th as another date with QAnon fixation. The proposed National Guard extension, if granted immediately, would only last through the first week of May. For now,
law enforcement, the FBI, law enforcement partners on the Joint Terrorism Task Forces are not overwhelmed by the threat. They address the threat, and they run those threats until they're no longer a threat or until they can actually open a case and work that issue.
4:39. Let's send things over to Howard for a check of your Friday forecast and maybe a little peek into the weekend, Howard.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. I mean, I know you want it to be warm, get outside, do your thing, but it's not going to happen this weekend. I'll just tell you right now, I'm ripping the Band-Aid off, and this is evidence. These are the current wind chills out there. Feeling like 12 in Martinsburg, 1 below in Oakland, 17 in Manassas, 18 at Joint Base Andrews, up north Gaithersburg, 16. So yeah, anyway you slice it, a cold, windy morning. And that's going to be the case through the day. In fact, through Saturday, even Sunday looks cold, just not as windy. By lunchtime, mid to upper 30s, maybe a few spots south like Culpeper and Orange and Fredericksburg, Stafford, Spotsy could be in the 40-degree range. And we'll be in the low to mid-40s this afternoon, but it's not going to feel like that. It'll feel like upper 20s to low 30s when you factor in the winds. Tonight, still breezy as temperatures dip once again into the 20s and low 30s. We'll have wind chills again in the teens to low 20s for Saturday morning. And Saturday will be perhaps slightly milder, mostly sunny, but temps in the mid to upper 40s, but still it's going to feel mostly in the 30s with the wind chills. And as we look at the 10-day temperature trend, this is what I showed this to Annie earlier, and she was very excited because notice as we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 60s and 70s. So just hang in there. I'll have your full 7-day forecast in a few minutes. Marcella.
All right, sounds good, Howard. 4:41 is your time on this Friday morning. Not a lot going on out there if you're getting ready to head out. A wide look at the area in pretty good shape in most places. We do still have this crash, though, southeast southwest freeway right at the 3rd Street tunnel. 2 lanes blocked, and the entrance to the tunnel is blocked as well. So you want to stay left as you make your way past there. This is a live look at 66 eastbound in Fairfax as you're making your way toward the Beltway. That is good. Not a lot of cars on the road at this hour. 95 north drive times also looking good. Fredericksburg up toward the mixing bowl, just a 34-minute ride. All right, there's new information about plans for toll lanes on I-270 and the Beltway in Maryland. MDOT tells the Washington Post that a losing bidder has filed a protest. Now, 2 weeks ago, MDOT announced it would award the contract to build and operate the lanes to Transurban. Transurban already runs 53 miles of HOV toll lanes in Northern Virginia. Now, according to the bid documents, the unnamed protester will first make their appeal to the contracting officer and then the state transportation secretary. If they remain unsatisfied, it could all go to the courts. Allison?
Coming up, Australia-based Qantas is trying to drum up interest in flying domestically again. The catch, passengers' destination is a mystery.
Ooh.
Yes.
But first, will you actually be able to fly if you're not vaccinated? Our Verify team has the answer for you right after the break. Get Up DC, back in a moment.